So I can't find the original video, but on January 16th, 2019, Rapid Trailer released this. And already, we're better than the Ghostbusters 2016 film. And that's something I want to talk about. Now this teaser alone is better than any of the advertisements we got for Ghostbusters 2016. Everybody was talking more that the all-female cast had taken over, rather than just the actual Ghostbusters franchise itself. I think that's one of the main reasons why it failed. It's because Sony decided to brand it more along, hey, we're doing a female side of Ghostbusters, and this means we can reboot the series and use pretty much the exact same story as the original Ghostbusters, and we all really know how that turned out, didn't we? But I don't really want to focus too much on the advertising side of Ghostbusters 2016, even though I think it was a massive problem, and I'll probably be talking a lot more in depth about that side of things when I bring out another video in the future, talking about a certain TV series that decided to branch off in that kind of a direction, and the fans don't really like said direction. Oops. No, this video I want to talk about the actual teaser itself, and what this might mean for Ghostbusters and the future of TV and film. Because right now we have such a big problem with TV and film, wanting to appeal more to critics, rather than the actual fans who actually believe in the series and go to these films.
Okay people, we've been waiting for this opportunity for 20 years. How do we make a good Ghostbusters film that people will watch?
We need something that will make critics love us, so our film makes lots of money.
Let's make the whole team female. The critics would love that.
How about we focus on the story and try and make a good film? And you can see this if you go to the Ghostbusters Rotten Tomato page, with the critic score being 74% and the audience score just being 51%. Now why is this a problem? It means that critics nitpick the film and they try and look for everything in said film, and you can't have everything because it just bores people. If you're touching on loads of different social issues, rather than the actual source material itself, you tend to lose your audience, which is why you tend to see a massive gap between critic scores and audience scores. Now here's where I think Ghostbusters 2020 will change that. Now it seems to be that these companies are actually waking up and seeing what they're doing wrong. I mean, take Transformers for example. It didn't exactly go into this gender equality issue that we've been having over the last couple of years in films and TV now. However, it did have the impact of Michael Bay not making what the fans necessarily wanted. He was just making something to profit and make money in the cinemas.
How do you think it's going to impact how viewers experience your movies?
Excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay.
And you could tell by the end, he didn't really care. If you compare that to Transformers Bumblebee, where the director Travis Knight actually tried to make a Transformers story rather than just big robots fighting each other, turns out you actually get a lot more gratitude from the fans who actually like the franchise. And if you haven't seen Bumblebee yet and you're a Transformers fan, I highly recommend going, because it's a great representation of what a film should be rather than it just trying to make money. Especially because it's not making a lot of money in cinemas at the moment. Now what does Transformers have to do with Ghostbusters? Apart from the fact they're both sci-fi, nothing much. But my point I'm driving home is that if you make a Ghostbusters film that appeals to the fans and what the fans want out of a film, rather than just what critics are after at the time, know your own source material and know what your fans want and give it to them, instead of just recycling character traits and not giving us a unique enough story for it to be any different from the original Ghostbusters. And I think that's why Bumblebee is so popular among Transformers fans, and new fans, because it's a great story, because you can tell Travis Knight is a genuine fan of Transformers, and grew up watching the Transformers series. With the right amount of nostalgia, and also a good story, it can clearly do wonders for your film and your franchise, considering that's basically rebooted the Transformers franchise. And don't get me wrong, when Ghostbusters 2016 was originally announced, I was quite intrigued and quite excited to see what they were going to do with the series. Especially because they were doing a bold move of changing everybody to a female cast. I was defending it, saying we hadn't seen a trailer yet, so there's no way of telling how good the film can actually be. And then we got the first full trailer.
Let's go.
Let's go. Oh,
Did you want to?
Sorry. I'll let you.
Next time. Okay.
And this is the main thing I want to talk about in this video, comparing this teaser trailer to the first trailer of the Ghostbusters 2016 video. Now, in the new Ghostbusters trailer for 2020, we see an old shed, and the camera slowly zooms in this really nice seamless one-shot to the actual interior of the shed. And actually, in the background, we get to hear some of the original cues from Ghostbusters and what made it sound so familiar, giving you that nostalgic feeling that overall makes you feel like you're part of the same Ghostbusters universe from the original 2 Ghostbusters, rather than the 2016 reboot, which had a very sort of rock upbeat soundtrack.
The hat is too much, right? Is it the wig or the hat?
Once we get inside the shed, we see the old Ghostbusters proton pack effects, which, mind you, look amazing now, but they've kept the original look so you know exactly what it is. And then the tarp comes off of the car, and it's the old car, really driving home that it's actually a continuation of the original Ghostbusters, rather than the reboot, because if there's one thing the reboot really did mess up, in my opinion, it's the car. Now, with reading on Ghostbusters 3, they're trying to get most of the original cast back. It just means that they're really trying to go hard and change up the dynamic of how it's working. They're really trying to appeal to the fans rather than the critics and actually trying to make a good film. If you do those things in the right way, you'll actually get a film that people will care about and people will watch. And then if you compare that to the 2016 version trailer, and I'm talking a full trailer here, not just a teaser, you got this subtle opening with just text on the screen saying 30 years ago, somebody answered the call and now we need somebody else to answer said call. All while in the meantime they're playing that classic Ghostbusters theme on the piano, which I must actually say has probably been the best bit about this entire reboot, is just that theme. Then the first shot is the firehouse. Now this is the biggest kick in the balls I can think of. They're making it seem like a continuation from Ghostbusters 2, an almost passing of the torch film, which would have been good in my opinion, which is what I think Ghostbusters 3 will actually go for, to set up the franchise for later films, which is why it's not branded as Ghostbusters 3 and just Ghostbusters at the moment. But when people found out this wasn't a passing of the torch film, and this was a full reboot of the series, people weren't too happy about it. Recycling the old story and honestly bringing nothing new to it, apart from the fact that they were all women, which didn't really add anything to the story. It almost felt like a parallel universe where the Ghostbusters were just 4 women instead of 4 men. Other than that, they're pretty much the same film. It's just Ghostbusters 2016 takes what was good about the original Ghostbusters, retells the same kind of jokes but just take them way too far, which makes it almost a comedy film instead of a sci-fi film. And I bought the film. I've watched this film. I sat down, I watched it for the whole... Jesus Christ, 2 hours and 14 minutes. But the fact that they were going for so much with this film, and the fact that they were trying to go for a sequel of this film, it really makes me glad that we didn't get one. And now we're getting this, which actually seems like an actual step forward rather than a step backwards. At least that's my opinion, and not the opinion of some of the older cast of Ghostbusters 2016. Yeah, there's been a bit of backlash on Twitter and everything like that about this new film coming out and basically retconning their old film, but I think it's necessary to do if we really want to drive home the fact that fans come first and critics come second. All in all, I'm looking forward to Ghostbusters 2020. I think it's going to be a really good breath of fresh air, considering now that we're moving towards more fan-based films rather than critic-based films. I think we'll get so much more good content in films and in TV if all studios thought like that. Now, Ghostbusters 2016 was an absolute flop. Everybody knew it was going to be, apart from the people who made it. From the wrong female actors chose, the recycled story, from the car being completely reimagined, and the siren changing, I'm not going to let that go. And the fact that it just made the whole Ghostbusters series really forgettable. Now, I've watched the film once, and to be fair, I can't remember most of it, but the bits I do remember are only the bad bits, and that's clearly not what you want out of a film. Actually, no, I take that back. The things I can remember is the things from the trailer, because they showed everything in the trailer, which is a common problem, but you would have thought everything wouldn't have been shown in the trailer. Now, there were a few things I did like about Ghostbusters 2016. Like I say, I did like the trailer music, but that's pretty much it. I also kind of like the effects. There were some things that I feel like if they had taken in a slightly different direction, could have looked really good, but the way they did them in the actual film, you know, they're kind of meh. Kind of reminded me of Goosebumps, that film with Jack Black and that one kid from like 13 Reasons Why. I have to give the film a 1 out of 10. Now that 1 is unfortunately just for the song in the trailer and the potential of effects. If they take that same mentality into the new Ghostbusters film, appealing to the fans rather than appealing to critics, I think it's going to go down so much better. Anyway guys, if you've liked the video this week, be sure to hit that like button, press subscribe if you're not already subscribed, hit that notification bell if you guys want to see my videos come up in the future. Also, tell me your thoughts on Ghostbusters 2020, what's your opinion compared to 2016, and be sure to mention what you'd like to hear me talk about in next week's episode. For now, I'm Tommy, and I'll see you guys later.